December 14th, 2022 will mark the 10th anniversary of the most infamous massacres in recent American history. On that day, a lone gunman walked into Sandy Hook Elementary in Newtown, Connecticut, and killed 20 children and 6 adults. The event shook the community to its core and reignited a national debate over gun control in the United States. Americans began questioning whether their notorious easy access to firearms needed more restriction and regulation. This growing social movement was met with backlash from many conservatives, ranging from questioning whether or not such new regulations would challenge the Second Amendment, to conspiracy theories claiming that shadowy figures in the government wanted to restrict the liberties of its citizens. One of the main figures from that extreme fringe, Alex Jones, was successfully sued for almost $1 billion in compensatory damages this week for spreading harmful misinformation about the massacre. I'm Josh Gallagher, and welcome to Laker News, and today we'll be discussing how a talk show host may have just set an important precedent for fake news on the internet. Over the last 30 years, Alex Jones has made a name for himself through the outlandish and wild segments on his talk show hosted on Infowars.com, a brand that Jones founded. Infowars became the home of one of the largest online curators of conspiracy theories and developed an extremely loyal fan base. In addition to those theories surrounding the Sandy Hook massacre, other conspiracy theories such as Pizzagate, which claimed that a human trafficking and child sex ring was being led by members of the Democratic Party out of a basement of a pizzeria in Washington, D.C., show the full scope of the quality of Infowars' subject matter. Needless to say, these accusations are thoroughly debunked, but that didn't stop avid fans of Jones from protesting the restaurant and harassing its owner. Jones eventually backed down from his claims when threatened with a lawsuit, issuing an apology to the owner of the restaurant stating, "To my knowledge today, neither Mr. Afalantis nor his restaurant were involved in any human trafficking, as was part of the theories about Pizzagate that were being written about in media outlets in which we commented upon." Despite escaping threat of litigation, Jones continued to peddle other conspiracy theories to his audience, specifically those surrounding the Sandy Hook massacre. Jones's claims surrounding Sandy Hook essentially boil down to denying the massacre ever happened. A hoax was designed to make it appear as if a shooting had occurred. According to the statements made by Jones at the time, those who were killed were never actually existed and were accompanied by a paid crisis actors to play grieving family members. These beliefs were repeated regularly on his talk show until a defamation case against Jones was filed by the same people who he labeled as actors. These families claimed they were subject to years of harassment by Infowars fans who were following that was being said on Jones's show. Accusations ranged from in-person and over-the-phone death threats to attempting to dig up the grave of a murdered child to show that the casket would be empty. In an attempt to boycott the trial, Alex Jones and his legal team routinely failed to disclose information during discovery, which led to a default judgment in favor of the plaintiff for the first of 3 trials. Ultimately, a Texas jury ruled that Jones must pay $49.3 million in punitive damages, but this number is likely to be reduced as low as $1.5 million due to legal restrictions surrounding how high punitive damages can be. However, the dollar value of the ruling is just as important as what Alex Jones admitted under oath, namely that he believed that the parents were not so-called crisis actors, which he claimed numerous times during his show. This admission that he misrepresented the facts surrounding the Sandy Hook massacre was an essential step in the verdict of the second trial that took place in Connecticut. The judge overseeing this case must also entered a default judgment for similar reasons that cost Jones his suit in Texas. On October 12th, Jones was ordered to pay a total of $965 million to the families of the victims to compensate them for the suffering brought upon them. Alex Jones was not present for the conclusion of his trial. Instead, he reacted to the ruling of the Connecticut jury live on his show with a mix of cheers and decrying that the process was a show trial. Jones's lawyer stated after the ruling that this is a dark day for free speech. However, the question remains how Jones will ultimately pay these damages. Despite having Infowars removed from important social media platforms like YouTube, his show still maintains a captive audience in the millions on the Infowars website. Jones has already begun asking his followers for donations to help pay for these damages, but it is unlikely that a crowd-funded effort will make a noticeable impact. Infowars' parent company, Free Speech Systems LLC, already filed for protective bankruptcy earlier this year, and Jones claimed that he could not afford to pay for the ruling in Texas. Although Free Speech Systems owns somewhere between $135 to $270 million in combined assets, these rulings may shut down Jones for good. In an age of weaponized information, the rulings over Jones's false claims regarding the Sandy Hook massacre established a precedent that could help slow the spread of fake news in America. As demonstrated by the results of these cases, the willing dissemination of false information can have severe effects not only on individuals, but can impact national politics as well. Alex Jones was one of the most prominent figures when it comes to manipulating information to take advantage of his audience and their skepticism towards the government. People like Alex Jones and his advocacy for the Pizzagate conspiracy theory laid the groundwork for the QAnon movement and other sources of misinformation that continue to destabilize liberal democracies around the world. The question of whether or not the potential financial ruin of Alex Jones and his company may provide a solution for when sensationalist media goes too far is yet to be known. I'm Josh Gallagher, and thank you for watching.